And welcome back to Who Would Win. So it's just regular Who Would Win, although due to a slight miscalculation on my part, you'll get three Who Would Wins this week instead of two. Kind of back to my old schedule a little bit, but I'm just going to do two today and crack them out and got the day off. This one comes to us from Superior, who asked the question, who would win a fight? Naruto Uzumaki versus Sawada Tsunayoshi from the Reborn series, if I believe I get the actual right name. Kateko, Kateko, I think. Kateko Hitman Reborn series. One I'm not familiar with, but just looking based on the character, the style, and what it seems to entail in terms of like lore, yeah, I could probably get behind this series, and maybe it'd be one I'll have to try to get into if it's either got both a manga and anime form or just anime. But yeah, so I know Naruto fairly well enough. I don't need his information up. I didn't know anything about this character, so I have his information up. Obviously, Naruto. Let's go over Naruto real quick. It's kind of self-explanatory at this point with how many times I've done him on the channel. And yes, he's a world. He's at least got world, not maybe world busting, but at least world destroying capabilities. Like I don't think he could literally blow up the world, but in terms of he's gonna fire a tail beast bomb and literally the world blows up. But yeah, he would essentially be. He's got the level of power to be a world destroyer. I think that's the best way to put it. Because I get so many people who get on my case for this, like the data books. Look, people suggest the data books. I had someone, get who kind of regularly gets a little miffed how they're not fans of how I kind of conduct my what ifs. I say like, look, the Naruto data books are free. Look it up. God, it's like I tried looking them up. I can't find them online, so I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, are you talking about they're free to download or they're online to purchase? Because I'm not purchasing them. Sorry. It's like, well, you're not doing your justice to your fans. Look, I'm doing what I can with what I have here. If it honestly would benefit the overall channel, sure, and maybe having the data book will, but yeah, I'm just not gonna do it. So sorry if that upsets you. Regardless, but yeah, Naruto, even with his own power, is still extremely powerful. Obviously, with the Fox Chakra, he becomes into the world-busting ranges of power. In terms of what he's capable of, Naruto, believe it or not, Naruto doesn't have that many techniques. He just has a lot of variations on techniques, usually. I mean, he has a Shadow Clone Jutsu, which he can pretty much do spam indefinitely. His Rasengan, obviously, is a chakra orb, which he has so many variations on. I'll briefly go over as many as I can in a moment. He does have Sage Mode, which allows him to draw on the natural chakra energy of the environment around him, enhancing his own physical capabilities, enable him to do extra techniques with it, including having an aura around him that, even if your punch misses, it could break your neck still. Summoning Jutsu summon large toads, which have their own techniques, including Gamabunta, Gamakichi, Gamakirin, Gawatatsu, Gamanakin, all of which are extremely powerful in their own right. I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, I'm forgetting for it. I mean, he knows the substitution. He knows the transformation. Unfortunately, he never learned the standard clone technique, but he still is still capable of using the shadow clone technique. He can use the Rasengan with one hand now. The Rasengan variants, oh god. Standard one. Big ball. Great ball. So, you got that, but I didn't go that big. That's usually enhanced with Sage or Fox Chakra. Rasen Shuriken, obviously. The planetary Rasengan, where you had one large one circling around, or with smaller ones circling around that kind of just overly grind into them. The tiny one, Tiny Rasen Shuriken. Massive Rasen Shuriken. And then if you go into the obviously Tail Beast Bomber Rasengan. And obviously then if you go into the 6 Sage mode, which we'd have to give him, he's capable of accessing all the chakra natures. Pretty much he technically has every chakra nature at this point. But he's capable of accessing the chakra natures and techniques of the Tail Beast in him, or at least the portions of chakra that he has in him, including I believe it's the acid release or boil release of the 6 tails, the steam release of the 5 tails, the lava release of the 4 tails. I don't think there's any specialized release with the water, with the 3 tails, besides maybe being water chakra. The fire, the blue flame release of the 2 tails, the magnet seal, curse seal Rasengan, which basically is able to seal away someone thanks to Shikaku. The sparkle release, which that's never really elaborated on exactly what that does. Let me see. Seven tails, real quick. Seven tails, tail beast. A seven-tailed, tailed beast. That's the chrome, which is the seven-tailed beetle, which is seven tails are more like wings, which is pretty cool. In terms of what it's capable of, again, tail beast bomb, obviously. Abilities. As tail beast has extremely large amount of chakra, it can share with others. Use tail beast fly. It uses its wings. It can emit blinding powder as it flies. Okay. It uses its insect-based attacks such as biting or ramming its horn. It can create a cocoon, which could slow down chakra absorption techniques. It has immense durability and is able to stand slamming by Kurama. Great. That doesn't explain what that type of chakra. Anyway, and then the ink technique of the 8 tails. So yeah, he can use all of those in conjunction. He can go into Kyuubi form to be just essentially the Kyuubi, the 9-tailed fox, although it's a glowy energy 9-tailed fox. He can create two duplicate clones of it and combine those together. Naruto is just an extremely powerful individual. The only way you're gonna overpower him in most fights is you're just naturally stronger, and naturally could overwhelm and basically maybe absorb all of his techniques, or you're gonna have to just drain him of his energy, or you're gonna have to have an ability like reality warping, which Naruto could not defend against at all. So Naruto, obviously, and he's a highly trained ninja. Should bring that up as well because that's important. He's great with it. He actually is very skilled, surprisingly, with the blade, as we see in the Boruto movie, which makes you wonder. You should have given Naruto a blade. At least let him keep the damn fox cloak, or the sage cloak. My God, that always bugs me. Actually, his first name is actually Tsunayoshi Sawada. Should be a high schooler if I'm not mistaken. A protagonist. He's the only child of someone Sawada and Nana Sawada, and descendant of the first generation boss of the Vangala Famiglia. Basically, I'm guessing the mafia. Now, I don't know the real lore behind this world per se. He's first off not that bright. I mean, he's common first who was he's a middle schooler. There we go. Loser and a middle schooler. Best known as no good Tsuna due to his poor grades, wimpy attitude, bad luck, and lack of athleticism. The fact that he freely admits he often doubts himself, generally depicted as becoming comically horrified by the outrageous actions of people around him. Compared to others, friends, he's more down to earth though, and still, since he is still a relatively new to the mafia world and supernatural. Although told by others that he is the Volgo Decimio, he is generally only take part in anything that will do in the mafia. Dislikes the violent history inherent of the mafia. His personality has developed greatly since then. He's from a coward, reluctant, and things. He has courage and resolve. Basically, he's your standard kind of protagonist in many ways. He's actually grown quite a bit, capable of handling himself in a fight to what it's worth. He's actually shown some brilliance at points. Now, not really explaining what these are, he is capable of using dying will flames, a form of high-pressured wave energy. Now, wave energy, if I may, it's probably similar to, it's supernatural based, but it's got to be similar to chakra. Like, they give me like 7 different forms of wave energy here. Wave energy is the wave of the life force that flows through human bodies. The size and balance of wave of the individual is determined by birth and has heavily hinted that members of the same bloodline tend to share similar wave balances like rings and wave and box weapons. The waves are classified according to 7 flames of the sky. There you go. So he has the dying will of flames, and he is capable of using both hard flames and soft flames. Whatever the hell that actually means. So, being his attribute is sky, he can ignite sky attribute rings and open sky attribute box weapons. He's been noted to have a very pure sky flames, able to use both the hard and soft, as I said. I don't really know what that means. Maybe it's explained down here more later on. Because I'm going down the list of his abilities right now. Forms Dying Will mode. The mode is activated when he is shot by Reborn's Dying Will bullet or has consumed a Dying Will pill. He uses the pressure he faces during a crisis to externally remove Tsuna's body limiters. He then uses his increased strength and renewed confidence to fulfill his Dying Will, which is the last thought he regretted before being shot. Near the end of the series, he has displayed the ability to change in this will while in Dying Will mode. Good to know. Hyper Dying Will mode. The mode is activated when he is shot by a Reborn's criticism shot or is consumed by has consumed 2 Dying Will pills. Hyper Dying Will, instead of removing external limiters on the body, uses pressure during the crisis, removes limiters, therefore releases his personal hidden awareness. When the eternal limiters are lifted, he awakens his hyper intuition. Great. His hyper intuition, let's see what that is real quick. Hyper intuition is a blood trait inherited by it would be a Kekkei essentially, by blood of Von Gala. Is described as being by Reborn as being a power that could see through it all. However, the instances where it has been fooled, such as whatever, is shown the ability to see the hyperintuition. See through all. I'm guessing it's kind of like a precognition ability, but apparently it has been fooled. So there's that. And then other mode he takes is minus state, where the complete opposite dying will mode temporarily rests his flames, then passes out after he can return to his hyper dying mode without getting hit by a criticism shot or having to ingest 2 dying pills. Ultimate dying will mode, a form achieved by being shot with dying will bullet in a hyper dying will mode. Normally, the dying will bullet that would cause the target to lose mental state of mind and only concentrate on what their dying will is. However, in this mode, he keeps his mental state and becomes engulfed in flames. Great. None of this really kind of specifies what these do. So, lovely. I'm probably going to have to spray this because unfortunately Domino peed on the floor yesterday, and I think that the mugginess of all the rain we're getting is really drawing out the smell in here. His techniques include 0-point breakthrough, first edition, the technique created by Volgala Primo and later used by Volgala Nono. It requires him to be in the minus state to create ice. Okay, which is highly negative compressed energy. It's just a car pop-up. I don't think anyone's here. So 0-point break revise allows him to not only absorb the flames of enemies, but convert flames to his own power. X Burner, a powerful blast of dying will flame from X Gloves of Year. Okay, basically it's a fire blast. Double X Burner, upgraded version of that. It's a bigger, more stronger version. Condensed X Burner. Use this after gaining the Oath Flame to limit the damage of this. He basically keeps it concentrated. Extreme drives down an enemy by rapidly begins to circles them from the bottom to the top, flames lagging behind them until they are completely covered in spiraling flames. Hyper Extreme, a more powerful version of that said attack. Big Bang Axis, concentrated flames in the fist, basically flame enhanced punches. X Cannon, after gaining something, he shoots 2 powerful blasts of X shapes from his hand, with the other hand on his arm. Flame Enhanced Punch coats his arms in sky flames and punches the target. His equipment includes X Gloves, which allow him to channel his power, if I'm not mistaken. Nicknamed Leon de Celial Vir Vogola, a box weapon, which takes the form of a young lion with a mane made of sky flames. Nuts changed into a long black cloak, and the cloak is attached to a metal plate. Okay. Animal rings. After Iaka was defeated, you were told that you couldn't take boxes. These are rings that are worn for some reason. He's also got just a bunch of stuff he carries around. Okay, if these two met in a fight, who would win? Based on everything I'm going with, obviously. Naruto. Naruto's going to win this fight hands down. Because if these two meet in a fight, even if Tsunayoshi throws everything he has at Naruto, he doesn't even have the speed alone to catch him. And even if he had the speed to catch him, he doesn't even have the firepower to hurt him. Like, Naruto has literally survived near planetary levels of damage. Granted, he was in his more powerful modes, but even his weakest mode, his base form, is durable enough to take country-level hits easy. And that's just because he's grown and, developed his power further. Naruto also just is far more destructive than him. Even in some of his base force, again, he can blow mountains apart with ease. And then we're talking about going into his higher levels of power. He's planetary by all stretch of the measure. He just doesn't have a technique that can literally blow up the planet. as far as I can tell. I mean, maybe if he charged a big enough tail beast ball, he could blow up the planet, or a big enough for no, the Rasengan wouldn't do it because of the nature of the Rasengan would literally have to be the size of the planet to blow up the planet. Because it's a grinding technique. It doesn't explode per se. Even though a Rasen Shuriken at a sufficient of size, maybe. A Tail Beast Bomb, it would definitely have to be still a pretty damn big Tail Beast Bomb. But hypothetically, you could do it. But again, that's hypotheticals. Still, though, Naruto, just in speed alone, skill alone, completely outmatches this kid. In terms of techniques, he just outmatches this kid because no technique that Tsunayoshi has could really even hurt Naruto. Like, it's flames, sure, and it's powerful flames, but Naruto's tanked freaking, giant ass fireballs from Sasuke. Taking giant explosions that leveled entire mountain faces. He's just on a completely another level than Tsunayoshi, unfortunately. Now, again, this is based on the fact that I have never read or watched the series. So maybe if I actually got an idea of what the characters are capable of in this series, I would have a different opinion beyond this. But unfortunately, from everything I'm looking at, from everything that I'm reading here, from everything that I'm finding out here, sure, he's strong. By enemy standards, he's perfectly adequate as a fighter. But in terms of going up against someone like Naruto, yeah, he doesn't stand a ghost of a chance, unfortunately. So Naruto takes this win for me. Let me know what you think, though. I know it's not really a scenario, but I mean, if these two met up, maybe he would challenge Naruto thinking he's a threat, and Naruto would just be like, what? And then, completely kicks his ass. Tsunayoshi throws everything he has at Naruto. Naruto's just using clones and stuff to distract him, and eventually just kind of chops the back of his head, knocks him out. There's your scenario. Unfortunately, it's not a very exciting one because unfortunately these guys are just if seeing me in the box right here, if Tsunayoshi if Tsunayoshi meets the top of this bar right now, that top of the bar suddenly goes down to there compared to Naruto in terms of sheer power and skill and techniques, frankly. So yeah, Naruto takes this 100% of the time, in my opinion. Now, unless you were asking me to use a different version of Naruto, like say first series Naruto, anytime during the original series, maybe like at the end of the series, that would be a very different fight. That I could work with and maybe see a winning scenario for Tsunayoshi. But unfortunately, that's not the case here. As far as I can tell, you asked for just straight Naruto. So, yeah. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. That's the sound of my battery running low, but I'm going to get my charger in just a second. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good one, folks.